report to us that we have a case. And then, since we have already convened the court, we should take advantage of the convening of the court by coming up with the calendar for the trial of the said case.
And then after which?
After that, we will follow the agreed upon calendar.
So we will, this August chamber will convene as an impeachment court and will try the case during the vacation, during our vacation, because we are not deliberating on any legislative matter. Am I correct, Mr. President?
Yes, Mr. President, we will follow now the agreed upon calendar for the trial of the case. So, convene muna nga tayo ng court, then we will now talk about the details of the calendar.
So we will not discuss any merits of the case. Am I correct? For now.
For now, yes. For now. Yun lang po yung purpose nun. Let us say, four purposes, four objectives. So, why we can convene as a court, or why we should convene as a court today. Number one, the Senate President will take his oath as the presiding officer. Then we will take our oath before the Senate President. We will call the case against the Vice President, and we will now come up with the calendar on how we will try the case.
May I know
susundin natin yun.
May I know, Mr. President, what is the difference if we convene today, tomorrow, or on Wednesday?
Yes, Mr. President, una sa lahat, Mr. President, alam nyo ba ang nakaschedule na bukas ay valedictory speeches? At saka, hindi na natin alam anong nakaschedule bukas. Ngayon, pag sinabi ng Constitution, trial by the Senate shall forthwith proceed. Hindi ba mas compliant tayo, not only with the words, but with the spirit of the Constitution, if we now advance now the convening of the court at umpisahan na natin yung mga preliminaries or formalities na kailangan din naman natin gawin. Let us convene the court, Mr. President, kaysa sa nagla-last day pa tayo na may agam-agam pa na baka during the session as a legislative body, merong motions dyan or issues dyan which will now eat up our time. Tapos darating na yung 12 midnight deadline na, Mr. President. And nangyari yun because nung Tuesday ay pinuno na lang natin yung ating agenda para may magawa tayo. Although valedictory speeches are important, no? Kasi para marinig nyo nga yung thank you naman namin sa lahat po ng maiiwan. But we could do that on Wednesday. So, my position is, it is more in keeping with the spirit, and more constant, more compliant with the spirit and wording of the Constitution if we now convene as an impeachment court and do these important matters also in the organization of the Senate as the impeachment court.
The chair will relinquish my position in a while in order to speak in plenary, on the floor rather. But just to answer that point of the Honorable Mintel, kaya po in-schedule ang valedictory bukas dahil nakaschedule po yung impeachment nga dapat sa Wednesday. Mahabang usapin yun, kinilala namin yun, kaya bukas in-schedule yun. Kung gagawin ngayon, natural, huling araw yon sa Wednesday. Dahil hindi pa natin alam ng mga panahong yon kung kaya na nga ba ng hanggang Lunes na maratify lahat ng mga hinahabol nating panukalang batas. Just for the record, and lest aspersions be cast na magbabaledictory na kayo, hindi pa nyo ginagawa, because that was the schedule and nobody questioned it until today. So that was scheduled supposedly on that date. But just on that point, Senator Estrada may proceed.
No, I have no more questions.
Yes,
I think the Senate President has already voiced out his own opinion during one of his press conferences.
But I'd rather say it on the
Yes.
record here too, Your Honor. Senator Tulfo intimated to this representation his desire to speak on the matter as well.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a very short manifestation. Naalata ko kanina pa tayo back and forth, para nag-aaway na tayo dito. To solve the impasse siguro, we'll have to put it in a vote, whether to convene today or tomorrow. Somehow we have to convene come what may. Magbutuhan na lang tayo para matapos na. Baka abutin tayo hanggang madaling araw, hindi pa rin natin napag-aalaman kung ano talaga ang dapat gawin natin. Let's do it. Let's put it in a vote. Tonight ba tayo magbotohan or tomorrow? I mean, magbobotohan tayo whether we convene today or tomorrow. That's it. Plain and simple. Para matapos na ang problema natin dito ngayon.
Duly noted.
Today or Wednesday? Kasi there are senators who want it to be on Wednesday. May mga senador na gusto ngayon. Let's put it in a vote. Pero somehow we have to convene come what may. Thank you, Mr. President.
Mr.
We
President.
will, Your Honor. Being a deliberative body, parliamentary practice rules dictate that we do nothing less, that things be settled through a vote. In fact, there is a pending motion by the minority leader that will be redefined and clarified. However, Chair thought it best to allow a free and fair debate where all of the members will be heard who have an opinion on this matter before finally deciding on the point. Now, if there are no other members who wishes to add to the discussion or debate, Chair would like to ask permission to relinquish the Chair so that the Chair can go down and speak also on the same matter. Session is suspended.
Session suspended.
To deliver a manifestation, the Honorable Senate President is seeking the floor.
The Senate President is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, distinguished Majority Floor Leader. With the permission of our colleagues, ilang bagay po ang nais ko sanang sabihin, paumanhin. Dininig ko muna ang posisyon at opinyon ng bawat isa bago ko pinagpasahang bumaba mula sa kinakaluklukan at kinakaupuan ko at sagutin ang ilan sa mga puntong ibinigkas nitong nagdaang ilang oras na. Una, nasabi na maikli lamang naman ang panahon ang kailangan gugulin para dito, bakit hindi pa ginawa noon?
Bayani ka ng ating bayan, kayo'y tularan nawa ng kabataan sa pag-ibig, sa kabutihan, ang lahat-lahat sa inyo ay di
May aral na ang bawat sakripisyo, nagkakalinga sa ating bansa, maging gabay na magandang asal, pagmamahal sa bansa ang tanging alay. Bayani ka ng ating bayan, kayo'y tularan nawa ng kabataan sa pag-ibig, sa kabutihan, ang lahat-lahat sa inyo ay di mapapantayan.
Buong puso namin at damdamin, iaalay ng buong buhay sa iyo, bansang Pilipinas.
Bayani kayo ng ating bayan.
Bayani kayo ng ating bayan,
Ng kabataan.
ng kabataan.
Sa pag-ibig, sa kabutihan, ang lahat-lahat sa iyo.
Bayaning Pilipino,
Bayani kayo ng ating bayan.
bayani kayo ng ating bayan,
Nawa ng kabataan.
ng kabataan.
Sa pag-ibig, maglilingkod sa iyo, ang lahat ay para sa iyo.
Bayaning Pilipino, ROTC at ako, babayan ko.
Once again, our thanks to the Civil Military Operations Regiment of the Philippine Army Chorale. Thank you for the songs you rendered, and thank you for your service. Secretary will please call the roll.
Roll call of members. The Honorable Senator Binay, Senator Cayetano Alan, Senator Cayetano Pia, Senator De La Rosa, Senator Ejercito, Senator Estrada, Senator Gatchalian, Senator Go, Senator Ontiveros, Senator Lapid, Senator Legarda, Senator Marcos, Senator Padilla, Senator Pimentel, Senator Poe, Senator Revilla, Senator Tolentino, Senator Tulfo, Senator Villanueva, Senator Villar Cynthia, Senator Villar Mark, Senator Zubiri, the Senate President.
With 23 senators present, Chair declares the presence of a quorum. Majority Floor Leader.
President, before we proceed with the
business for the day, I'd like to acknowledge several guests. The Secretary Designee, Secretary Ramon Aliling of the Department of Human Settlements and Urban Development is present. Dr. Marwilin de la Cruz, Fiscal President, is present. Former Mayor Lizardo of MANILA, Camarines Sur is likewise present. Mayor Benji Tambis of Cebu is likewise present, Mr. President.
To the aforementioned guests, welcome to your Senate.
Mr. President, I move that we dispense with the reading of the journal of the 51st session Monday, June 2, and consider the same as approved, Mr. President, subject to the minor clerical amendment made by this representation pursuant to Section 104 of the Rules of the Senate. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none. Motion is approved.
Mr. President, I move that we defer approval of the journal of the 53rd session Wednesday, June 4, 2025.
Any objection? Hearing none. Motion is approved.
Mr. President, several bills are for approval for third reading, Mr. President. We start with the Senate Bill number 2821, the Accelerated and Reformed Right-of-Way Bill, Mr. President. I move that we consider the same on third reading. The printed copies of all of which were electronically distributed to the members last June 6, 2025, in compliance with the 3-day rule of the Constitution. I move that we consider on third reading Senate Bill 2821, the Accelerated and Reformed Right-of-Way Act. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved. Secretary is directed to comply and to proceed to roll call vote.
An act instituting reforms in the acquisition of right-of-way for infrastructure projects by the national government and by public service providers, amending for the purpose Republic Act Number 10752, otherwise known as the Right-of-Way Act. Roll call vote. The Honorable Senators Binay, Cayetano A, Cayetano P, De La Rosa, Ejercito, Estrada, Gatchalian, Go, Ontiveros, Lapid, Legarda, Marcos, Padilla, Pimentel, Poe, Revilla, Tolentino, Tulfo, Villanueva, Villar C, Villar M, Zubiri, the Senate President.
With 23 senators voting in the affirmative, 0 negative, 0 abstentions, Senate Bill number 2821 is approved on third reading. Majority Leader.
Mr. President, I move to consider on third reading Senate Bill number 2868, the bill on the Anti-POGO Act of 2025. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, Secretary is directed to comply and to proceed to roll call vote.
An act banning and declaring illegal offshore gaming operations in the Philippines and other operations related thereto, repealing for the purpose RA 11,590. Roll call vote. The Honorable Senators Binay, Cayetano A, Cayetano P, De La Rosa, Ejercito, Estrada, Gatchalian, Go, Ontiveros, Lapid, Legarda, Marcos, Padilla, Pimentel, Poe, Revilla, Tolentino, Tulfo, Villanueva, Villar C, Villar M, Zubiri, the Senate President.
With 23 affirmative votes, 0 negative, 0 abstentions, Senate Bill number 2868 is approved on third reading. Majority Leader.
Mr. President, I move to consider on third reading Senate Bill number 2982, the bill on the Judiciary Fiscal Autonomy Act. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, Secretary is directed to comply and to proceed to roll call vote.
An act defining the scope and extent of fiscal autonomy of the judicial branch of the government and for other purposes. Roll call vote. The Honorable Senators Binay, Cayetano A, Cayetano P, De La Rosa, Ejercito, Estrada, Gatchalian, Go, Ontiveros, Lapid, Legarda, Marcos, Padilla, Pimentel, Poe, Revilla, Tolentino, Tulfo, Villanueva, Villar C, Villar M, Zubiri, the Senate President.
With 23 affirmative votes, 0 negative, 0 abstentions, Senate Bill number 2982 is approved on third reading. Majority Leader.
Mr. President, I move to consider on third reading Senate Bill number 2899, the bill on the Philippine National Nuclear Energy Safety Act. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved. Secretary is directed to comply and to proceed to roll call vote.
An act providing for a comprehensive legal framework for nuclear safety, security, and safeguards in the peaceful utilization of nuclear energy in the Philippines and establishing the Philippine Atomic Energy Regulatory Authority and appropriating funds therefor. Roll call vote. The Honorable Senators Binay, Cayetano A, Cayetano P, De La Rosa, Ejercito, Estrada, Gatchalian, Go, Ontiveros, Lapid, Legarda, Marcos, Padilla, Pimentel, Poe, Revilla, Tolentino,
Yes.
Tulfo, Villanueva, Villar C, Villar M, Zubiri, the Senate President.
With 23 affirmative votes, 0 negative, 0 abstention, Senate Bill number 2899 is approved on third reading. Majority Leader?
Mr. President, before we proceed with the other bills and before we proceed with the designation of the members of the conference committee panel, Mr. President, this representation as the principal author of this measure would like to thank all the members of this chamber as well as Senator Alan Peter Cayetano. I will just submit into the records my speech of appreciation, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move that we proceed to the Senate President's designation of the Senate conferees of the Conference Committee report on the disagreeing provisions of Senate Bill 2899 and House Bill 9293. These are the bills on the Philippine Nuclear Energy Safety Act. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved. Following members are designated to comprise the Senate panel with respect to the disagreeing provisions in the bicameral conference committee of Senate Bill number 2899 and House Bill number 9293 as follows. Senator Alan Peter Cayetano as chairperson, this representation as member, and Senator Aquilino Pimentel III on the part of the minority. So designated. Majority Leader.
Mr. President, I move to consider on third reading Senate Bill number 2903, the bill on the revised Philippine Coast Guard law. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved. Secretary is directed to comply and proceed to roll call vote.
An act providing for the administrative reform and reorganization of the Philippine Coast Guard, repealing RA 9993. Roll call vote. The Honorable Senators Binay, Cayetano A, Cayetano P, De La Rosa, Ejercito, Estrada, Gatchalian, Go, Ontiveros, Lapid, Legarda, Marcos, Padilla, Pimentel, Poe, Revilla, Tolentino, Tulfo, Villanueva, Villar C, Villar M, Zubiri, the Senate President.
With 22 affirmative votes, 0 negative, 0 abstention, Senate Bill number 2903 is approved on third reading. Majority Leader.
Mr. President, I move to consider on third reading the bill on the Senate Bill number 2969, the bill on the National Aviation Academy Act of the Philippines Charter Act. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved. Secretary is directed to comply and to proceed to roll call vote.
An act declaring the Philippine State College of Aeronautics as a national professional institution for aviation, renaming it the National Aviation Academy of the Philippines. Roll call vote. The Honorable Senators Binay, Cayetano A, Cayetano P, De La Rosa, Ejercito, Estrada, Gatchalian, Go, Ontiveros, Lapid, Legarda, Marcos, Padilla, Pimentel, Poe, Revilla, Tolentino, Tulfo, Villanueva, Villar C, Villar M, Zubiri, the Senate President.
With 22 affirmative votes, 0 negative, 0 abstention, Senate Bill number 2969 is approved on third reading. Majority Leader.
Mr. President, I move to consider on third reading Senate Bill 2999, the bill on the declaration of the State of Imminent Disaster Act. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved. Secretary is directed to comply and to proceed to roll call vote.
An act establishing a mechanism on the declaration of state of imminent disaster, providing the criteria for its declaration and lifting, enabling anticipatory measures and appropriating funds therefor. Roll call vote. The Honorable Senators Binay, Cayetano A, Cayetano P, De La Rosa, Ejercito, Estrada, Gatchalian, Go, Ontiveros, Lapid, Legarda, Marcos, Padilla, Pimentel, Poe, Revilla, Tolentino, Tulfo, Villanueva, Villar C, Villar M, Zubiri, the Senate President.
With 21 affirmative votes, 0 negative, 0 abstention, Senate Bill number 2999 is approved on third reading. Majority Floor Leader.
Senate President Pro Tempore is seeking the floor, Mr. President.
Mr. President,
What is the pleasure of the Honorable Senate President Pro Tem, Jingo Estrada?
this representation being the main author of this particular bill, which has been passed only on third reading, would like to insert into the records his appreciation of the speech of appreciation, and the majority floor leader has intimated to me that he wanted to be a co-author of this particular bill, Mr. President. That's all,
Duly
Mr. President.
noted and entered into the records. Majority Floor Leader.
Mr. President, the Deputy Minority Leader is seeking the floor. There might have been a misappreciation of her vote.
What is the pleasure of the Honorable Deputy Minority Floor Leader, the Honorable Entreveros?
Salamat tabi, Mr. President, at salamat sa Majority Leader. I just wish to clarify that my vote on the Phil-Atom bill was recorded as a no, because it was recorded as a no, Mr. President.
How was it? It was not so recorded, and we shall do the corresponding correction, Your Honor, based on your manifestation now.
Thank you, Mr. President. And further, I would just like to enter into the record my explanation of no vote on the Phil-Atom bill, as well while I'm here at the rostrum, Mr. President, to request also that my explanation of yes vote to the Anti-POGO bill also merely be entered into the record. Salamat tabi, Mr. President, and again to the Majority Leader.
Given the manifestation of the Honorable Antiveros, let the record be corrected and to read that insofar as the Phil-Atom bill is concerned, 22 affirmative votes and 1 negative vote, subject to the insertion into the records of the explanation of vote of the Honorable Antiveros. So ordered.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Majority Leader.
Mr. President, I move to consider on third reading Senate Bill number 2613. This is the bill on the equitable access to Sharia courts. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, Secretary is directed to comply and to proceed to roll call vote.
An act providing for equitable access to Sharia courts, amending RA 9997. Roll call vote. The Honorable Senators Binay, Cayetano A, Cayetano P, De La Rosa, Ejercito, Estrada, Gatchalian, Go, Ontiveros, Lapid, Legarda, Marcos, Padilla, Pimentel, Poe, Revilla, Tolentino, Tulfo, Villanueva, Villar C, Villar M, Zubiri, the Senate President.
With 21 affirmative votes, 0 negative, 0 abstentions, Senate Bill number 2613 is approved on third reading. Majority Leader.
Mr. President, I move to consider on third reading Senate Bill number 3000. This is the bill on the career progression system for public school teachers and school leaders. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved. Secretary is directed to comply and to proceed to roll call vote.
An act institutionalizing the career progression system for public school teachers and school leaders and appropriating funds therefore. Roll call vote. The Honorable Senators Binay, Senator Cayetano A, Cayetano P, De La Rosa, Ejercito, Estrada, Gatchalian, Go, Ontiveros, Lapid, Legarda, Marcos, Padilla, Pimentel, Poe, Revilla, Tolentino, Tulfo, Villanueva, Villar C, Villar M, Zubiri, the Senate President.
With 21 affirmative votes, 0 negative, 0 abstentions, Senate Bill number 3000 is approved on third reading. Majority Leader.
Mr. President, I move to consider on third reading House Bill number 10535. This is the bill on the amendments to the National Internal Revenue Code in relation to denatured alcohol. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved. Senate Secretary is directed to comply and to proceed to roll call vote.
An act amending sections 134 and 168 of the National Internal Revenue Code of 1997 as amended. Roll call vote. The Honorable Senators Binay, Cayetano A, Cayetano P, De La Rosa, Ejercito, Estrada, Gatchalian, Go, Ontiveros, Lapid, Legarda, Marcos, Padilla, Pimentel, Poe, Revilla, Tolentino, Tulfo, Villanueva, Villar C, Villar M, Zubiri, the Senate President.
With 21 affirmative votes, 0 negative, 0 abstention, House Bill number 10535 is approved on third reading. Majority Floor Leader.
Mr. President, I move to consider on third reading House Bill number 7500. This is the bill on the establishment of Aquaculture feed mill plant in Panay, Capiz. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved. Senate Secretary is directed to comply and to proceed to roll call vote.
An act establishing an aquaculture feed mill plant in Bahit, Panay, Capiz. Roll call vote. The Honorable Senators Binay, Cayetano A, Cayetano P, De La Rosa, Ejercito, Estrada, Gatchalian, Go, Ontiveros, Lapid, Legarda, Marcos, Padilla, Pimentel, Poe, Revilla, Tolentino, Tulfo, Villanueva, Villar C, Villar M, Zubiri, the Senate President.
With 21 affirmative votes, 0 negative, 0 abstention, House Bill number 7500 is approved on third reading. Majority Floor Leader.
Mr. President, I move to consider on third reading House Bill number 10242. This is the bill granting electric franchise to Pampanga Rural Electric Service Cooperative, Presco. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none. Senate Secretary is directed to comply and to proceed to roll call vote.
An act granting ng Pampanga Rural Electric Service Cooperative a franchise for the conveyance of electric power to the end users in 34 barangays in Mexico, Araya, Santa Ana, and Magalang, Pampanga. Roll call vote. The Honorable Senators Binay, Cayetano A, Cayetano P, De La Rosa, Ejercito, Estrada, Gatchalian, Go, Ontiveros, Lapid, Legarda, Marcos, Padilla, Pimentel, Poe, Revilla, Tolentino, Tulfo, Villanueva, Villar C, Villar M, Zubiri, the Senate President.
With 21 affirmative votes, 0 negative, 0 abstention, House Bill number 10242 is approved on third reading. Before we continue, upon the request of and clarification of the Honorable Legarda, Chair would like to once again correct the vote in regard to Senate Bill number 2899 on the Nuclear Safety and Security Safeguards Utilization Act, for her vote to be recorded as having abstained. So for the record, the vote on Senate Bill number 2899 shall be 21 in the affirmative, 1 negative, and 1 abstention. Duly so ordered to be entered into the records. Majority Leader.
Mr. President, I move to consider on third reading House Bill number 10483. This is the bill granting electric franchise to Benguet Electric Cooperative, Inc. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved. Senate Secretary is directed to comply and to proceed to roll call vote.
An act granting Benguet Electric Cooperative a franchise for the conveyance of electric power to the municipalities in the province of Benguet and in Baguio City. Roll call vote. The Honorable Senators Binay, Cayetano A, Cayetano P, De La Rosa, Ejercito, Estrada, Gatchalian, Go, Ontiveros, Lapid, Legarda, Marcos, Padilla, Pimentel, Poe, Revilla, Tolentino,
Yes.
Tulfo, Villanueva, Villar C, Villar M, Zubiri, the Senate President.
With 21 affirmative votes, 0 negative, 0 abstention, House Bill number 10483 is approved on third reading. Majority Leader.
Mr. President, I move to consider on third reading House Bill number 10243. This is the bill granting electric franchise to Aklan Electric Cooperative, Akelco. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, Senate Secretary is directed to comply and to proceed to roll call vote.
An act granting the Aklan Electric Cooperative a franchise for the conveyance of electric power to the end users in the province of Aklan, municipalities of Pandan and Libertad, in Antique, and in the Mayan, Sapian province of Capiz. Roll call vote. The Honorable Senators Binay, Cayetano A, Cayetano P, De La Rosa, Ejercito, Estrada, Gatchalian, Go, Ontiveros, Lapid, Legarda, Marcos, Padilla, Pimentel, Poe, Revilla, Tolentino, Tulfo,
Yes.
Villanueva, Villar C, Villar M, Zubiri, the Senate President.
With 21 affirmative votes, 0 negative, 0 abstention, House Bill number 10243 is approved on third reading. Majority Leader.
Mr. President, I move to consider on third reading House Bill number 6013. This is the bill on the creation of Barangay Pulong Bulo in San Fernando, Pampanga. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, Senate Secretary is directed to comply and to proceed to roll call vote.
An act creating a barangay in San Fernando, Pampanga to be known as the Barangay Pulong Bulo. Roll call vote. The Honorable Senators Binay, Cayetano A, Cayetano P, De La Rosa, Ejercito, Estrada, Gatchalian, Go, Ontiveros, Lapid, Legarda, Marcos, Padilla, Pimentel, Poe, Revilla, Tolentino, Tulfo, Villanueva, Villar C, Villar M, Zubiri, the Senate President.
With 21 affirmative votes, 0 negative, 0 abstention, House Bill number 6013 is approved on third reading. Majority Leader.
Mr. President, I move to consider on third reading House Bill number 5555. This is the bill on the creation of Barangay Friendship Village Resources in Norsagaray, Bulacan. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, Secretary is directed to comply and to proceed to roll call vote.
An act creating a barangay in Norsagaray, Bulacan to be known as the Barangay Friendship Village Resources or Barangay FBR. Roll call vote. The Honorable Senators Binay, Cayetano A, Cayetano P, De La Rosa, Ejercito, Estrada, Gatchalian, Go, Ontiveros, Lapid, Legarda, Marcos, Padilla, Pimentel, Poe, Revilla, Tolentino, Tulfo, Villanueva, Villar C, Villar M, Zubiri, the Senate President.
With 21 affirmative votes, 0 negative, 0 abstention, House Bill number 5555 is approved on third reading.
Mr. President, I move to consider on third reading House Bill number 10885. This is the bill establishing the Zamboanga del Sur 2nd District Hospital. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, Secretary is directed to comply. To proceed to roll call vote.
An act establishing in San Miguel, Zamboanga del Sur, the Zamboanga del Sur 2nd District Hospital. Roll call vote. The Honorable Senators Binay, Cayetano A, Cayetano P, De La Rosa, Ejercito, Estrada, Gatchalian, Go. Ontiveros, Lapid, Legarda, Marcos, Padilla, Pimentel, Po, Revilla, Tolentino.
Yes.
Tulfo, Villanueva, Villar C, Villar M, Zubiri, the Senate President.
With 21 affirmative votes, 0 negative, 0 abstention, House Bill number 10885 is approved on third reading. Majority Leader?
Mr. President, I move to consider on third reading House Bill number 11162. This is the bill establishing the Aurora Medical Center in Balera, Aurora. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, Secretary is directed to comply and to proceed to roll call vote.
An act establishing in Baler, Aurora, the Aurora Medical Center. Roll call vote. The Honorable Senators Binay, Cayetano A, Cayetano P, De La Rosa, Ejercito, Estrada, Gatchalian, Go, Ontiveros, Lapid, Legarda, Marcos, Padilla, Pimentel, Po, Revilla, Tolentino, Tulfo, Villanueva, Villar C, Villar M, Zubiri, the Senate President.
With 21 affirmative votes, 0 negative votes, 0 abstention, House Bill number 11162 is hereby approved on third reading. Majority Leader.
I move to consider third reading House Bill number 11163. This is the bill establishing the Liloy General Hospital in Liloy, Zamboanga del Norte. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? There being none, motion is approved. Secretary.
An act establishing in Liloy, Zamboanga del Norte, the Liloy General Hospital. Roll call vote. The Honorable Senators Binay, Cayetano A, Cayetano P, De La Rosa, Ejercito, Estrada, Gatchalian, Go, Ontiveros, Lapid, Legarda, Marcos, Padilla, Pimentel, Po, Revilla, Tolentino, Tulfo, Villanueva, Villar C, Villar M, Zubiri, the Senate President.
With 21 affirmative votes, 0 negative votes, 0 abstention, House Bill number 11163 is hereby approved on third reading. Majority Leader.
I move to consider in third readings House Bill number 10080. This is the bill upgrading the Quirino Province Medical Center. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved. Secretary, please.
An act upgrading the Quirino Province Medical Center in Camarines, Province of Quirino, into a Level 3 General Hospital. Roll call vote. The Honorable Senators Binay, Cayetano A, Cayetano P, De La Rosa, Ejercito, Estrada, Gatchalian, Go, Ontiveros, Lapid, Legarda, Marcos, Padilla, Pimentel, Po, Revilla, Tolentino, Tulfo, Villanueva, Villar C, Villar M, Zubiri, the Senate President.
With 21 affirmative votes, 0 negative votes, 0 abstention, House Bill number 10080 is hereby approved on third reading. Majority Leader.
I move to consider in third reading House Bill number 10405. This is the bill establishing the Dinagat Island State College. So move, Mr. President.
An objection? There being none, motion is approved.
An act establishing a state college in the Lone District of the Province of Dinagat Islands. Roll call vote. The Honorable Senators Binay, Cayetano A, Cayetano P, De La Rosa, Ejercito, Estrada, Gatchalian, Go, Ontiveros, Lapid, Legarda, Marcos, Padilla, Pimentel, Po, Revilla, Tolentino, Tulfo, Villanueva, Villar C, Villar M, Zubiri, the Senate President.
With 21 affirmative votes, 0 negative votes, 0 abstention, House Bill number 10405 is hereby approved on third reading. Majority Leader.
I move to consider in third reading House Bill number 10622. This is the bill establishing the Sarangani State College. So move, Mr. President.
An objection? There being none, motion is approved.
An act establishing a state college in Alabel, Sarangani. Roll call vote. The Honorable Senators Binay, Cayetano A, Cayetano P, De La Rosa, Ejercito, Estrada, Gatchalian, Go, Ontiveros, Lapid, Legarda, Marcos, Padilla, Pimentel, Po, Revilla, Tolentino, Tulfo, Villanueva, Villar C, Villar M, Zubiri, the Senate President.
With 23 affirmative votes, 0 negative votes, 0 abstention, House Bill number 10622 is hereby approved on third reading. Majority Leader.
I move to consider in third reading House Bill number 9314. This is the bill on the Rinconada State College Charter. So move, Mr. President.
An objection? Hearing none, motion is approved.
An act converting the Bao Community College in Bao, Province of Camarines Sur, into a state college to be known as a Rinconada State College. Roll call vote. The Honorable Senators Binay, Cayetano A, Cayetano P, De La Rosa, Ejercito, Estrada, Gatchalian, Go, Ontiveros, Lapid, Legarda, Marcos, Padilla, Pimentel, Po, Revilla, Tolentino, Tulfo, Villanueva, Villar C, Villar M, Zubiri, the Senate President.
With 23 affirmative votes, 0 negative votes, 0 abstention, House Bill number 9314 is hereby approved on third reading. Majority Leader.
I move to consider on third reading House Bill number 9642. This is the bill on the Aurora State University of Science and Technology Charter. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved.
And now converting the Aurora State College of Technology in Baler, Aurora into a state university. Roll call vote. The Honorable Senators Binay, Cayetano A, Cayetano P, De La Rosa, Ejercito, Estrada, Gatchalian, Go, Ontiveros, Lapid, Legarda, Marcos, Padilla, Pimentel, Pori, Villa, Tolentino, Tulfo, Villanueva, Villar C, Villar M, Zubiri, the Senate President.
With 22 affirmative votes, 0 negative, 23, I stand corrected. With 23 affirmative votes, 0 negative votes, 0 abstention, House Bill number 9642 is hereby approved on third reading. Majority Leader.
I move to consider on third reading House Bill number 11162. This is the bill establishing the Aurora Medical Center in Baler, Aurora. So move, Mr. President.
An objection? Hearing none, motion is approved.
And now converting the Aurora State College of Technology in Baler into a state university to be known as Aurora State University of Science and Technology. Roll call vote. The Honorable Senators Binay, Cayetano A, Cayetano P, De La Rosa, Ejercito, Estrada, Gatchalian, Go, Ontiveros, Lapid, Legarda. Sir JB, next.
Approve this on third reading. May
Number
we proceed
25.
to the next one? House Bill number 9155.
25.
I move to consider on third reading House Bill number 9155. This is the bill on the renewal of franchise of PEC Broadcasting Corporation. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? There being none, motion is approved.
And after renewing for another 25 years, the franchise granted to PEC Broadcasting Corporation under RA 8685. Roll call vote. The Honorable Senators Binay, Cayetano A, Cayetano P, De La Rosa, Ejercito, Estrada, Gatchalian, Go, Ontiveros, Lapid, Legarda, Marcos, Padilla, Pimentel, Po, Revilla, Tolentino, Tulfo, Villanueva, Villar C, Villar M, Zubiri, the Senate President.
With 23 affirmative votes, 0 negative votes, 0 abstention, House Bill number 9155 is hereby approved on third reading. Majority Leader.
I move to consider third reading House Bill number 10698. This is the bill granting electric franchise to Camarines Sur for Electric Cooperative Incorporated or Casureco 4. So move, Mr. President.
An objection? There being none, motion is approved.
And now granting the Camarines Sur 4 Electric Cooperative a franchise for the conveyance of electric power to the end users in the province of Camarines Sur. Roll call vote. Honorable Senators Binay, Cayetano A, Cayetano P, De La Rosa, Ejercito, Estrada, Gatchalian, Go, Ontiveros, Lapid, Legarda, Marcos, Padilla, Pimentel, Po, Revilla, Tolentino, Tulfo, Villanueva, Villar C, Villar M, Zubiri, the Senate President.
With 23 affirmative votes, 0 negative votes, 0 abstention, House Bill number 10698 is hereby approved on third reading. Majority Leader.
I move to consider third reading House Bill number 11042. This is the bill granting electric franchise to First Laguna Electric Cooperative Incorporated or FLECO. So move, Mr. President.
An objection? There being none, motion is approved.
And now granting a franchise to First Laguna Electric Cooperative Inc., FLECO, for the conveyance of electric power to the end users in the province of Laguna. Roll call vote. The Honorable Senators Binay, Cayetano A, Cayetano P, De La Rosa, Ejercito, Estrada, Gatchalian, Go, Ontiveros, Lapid, Legarda, Marcos, Padilla, Pimentel, Po, Revilla, Tolentino, Tulfo, Villanueva, Villar C, Villar M, Zubiri, the Senate President.
With 23 affirmative votes, 0 negative votes, 0 abstention, House Bill number 11042 is hereby approved on third reading. Majority Leader.
I move to consider third reading House Bill number 11189. This is the bill on the Barangay Alabang in Muntinlupa. So move, Mr. President.
An objection? There being none, motion is approved.
And now renaming Barangay New Alabang Village in Muntinlupa as Barangay Ayala Alabang. Roll call vote. The Honorable Senator Binay, Cayetano A, Cayetano P, De La Rosa, Ejercito, Estrada, Gatchalian, Go, Ontiveros, Lapid, Legarda, Marcos, Padilla, Pimentel, Po, Revilla, Tolentino, Tulfo, Villanueva, Villar C, Villar M, Zubiri, the Senate President.
With 23 affirmative votes, 0 negative votes, 0 abstention, House Bill number 11189 is hereby approved on third reading. Majority Leader.
I move to consider third reading House Bill number 4839. This is the bill declaring a special working holiday in Lapu-Lapu City, Cebu. So move, Mr. President.
An objection? There being none, motion is approved.
And now declaring June 17 of every year special working holiday in Lapu-Lapu, province of Cebu. Roll call vote. The Honorable Senators Binay, Cayetano A, Cayetano P, De La Rosa, Ejercito, Estrada, Gatchalian, Go, Ontiveros, Lapid, Legarda, Marcos, Padilla, Pimentel, Po, Revilla, Tolentino, Tulfo, Villanueva, Villar C, Villar M, Zubiri, the Senate President.
With 22 affirmative votes, 0 negative votes, 0 abstention, House Bill number 4839 is hereby approved on third reading. Majority Leader.
I move to consider third reading House Bill number 9601, that this is the bill on Bataan High School for Sports Act. So move, Mr. President.
An objection, there being none, motion is approved.
An act establishing a high school for sports in Bagak, Bataan, to be known as the Bataan High School for Sports. Roll call vote. Honorable Senators Binay, Cayetano A, Cayetano P, De La Rosa, Ejercito, Estrada, Gatchalian, Go, Ontiveros, Lapid, Legarda, Marcos, Padilla, Pimentel, Poe, Revilla, Tolentino, Tulfo, Villanueva, Villar C, Villar M, Zubiri, the Senate President.
With 22 affirmative votes, 0 negative votes, 0 abstention, House Bill number 9601 is hereby approved on third reading. Majority Leader.
I move to consider third reading House Bill number 9602. This is the bill on Baybay City High School for Sports Act. So move, Mr. President.
An objection, there being none, motion is approved.
An act establishing the Baybay City High School for Sports in Baybay, Leyte. Roll call vote. The Honorable Senators Binay, Cayetano A, Cayetano P, De La Rosa, Ejercito, Estrada, Gatchalian, Go, Ontiveros, Lapid, Legarda, Marcos, Padilla, Pimentel, Poe, Revilla, Tolentino, Tulfo, Villanueva, Villar C, Villar M, Zubiri, the Senate President.
With 22 affirmative votes, 0 negative votes, 0 abstention, House Bill number 9602 is hereby approved on third reading. Majority Leader.
I move to consider third reading House Bill number 11038. This is the bill establishing Doos del Norte National High School in Leyte. So move, Mr. President.
An objection, there being none, motion is approved.
An act establishing a national high school in Doos del Norte, Hindang, Leyte, to be known as Doos del Norte National High School. Roll call vote. The Honorable Senators Binay, Cayetano A, Cayetano P, De La Rosa, Ejercito, Estrada, Gatchalian, Go, Ontiveros, Lapid, Legarda, Marcos, Padilla, Pimentel, Poe, Revilla, Tolentino, Tulfo, Villanueva, Villar C, Villar M, Zubiri, the Senate President.
With 22 affirmative votes, 0 negative, 0 abstention, House Bill number 11038 is approved on third reading. Majority Floor Leader.
I move to consider on third reading House Bill number 11185. This is the bill establishing the Tanay National High School in Tanay Rizal. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, Secretary is directed to comply and to proceed to roll call vote.
An act establishing a national science high school in Tanay, Rizal, to be known as the Tanay National Science High School. Roll call vote. The Honorable Senators Binay, Cayetano A, Cayetano P, De La Rosa, Ejercito, Estrada, Gatchalian, Go, Ontiveros, Lapid, Legarda, Marcos, Padilla, Pimentel, Poe, Revilla, Tolentino, Tulfo, Villanueva, Villar C, Villar M, Zubiri, the Senate President.
With 22 affirmative votes, 0 negative, 0 abstention, House Bill number 11185 is approved on third reading. Majority Leader.
I move to consider third reading House Bill number 11167. This is the bill on the Alegria Integrated School in Barcelona, Sorsogon. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved. Secretary is directed to comply and to proceed to roll call vote.
And now converting the Alegria Elementary School in Alegria, Barcelona, Sorsogon into an integrated school to be known as Alegria Integrated School. Roll call vote. The Honorable Senators Binay, Cayetano A, Cayetano P, De La Rosa, Ejercito, Estrada, Gatchalian, Go, Ontiveros, Lapid, Legarda, Marcos, Padilla, Pimentel, Poe, Revilla, Tolentino, Tulfo, Villanueva, Villar C, Villar M, Zubiri, the Senate President.
With 22 affirmative votes, 0 negative, 0 abstention, House Bill number 11167 is approved on third reading. Majority Floor Leader.
I move to consider third reading House Bill number 11351. This is the bill on the Patag Integrated School in Irosin, Sorsogon. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved. Secretary is directed to comply and to proceed to roll call vote.
And now converting the Patag Elementary School in Patag, Irosin, Province of Sorsogon into an integrated school to be known as the Patag Integrated School. Roll call vote. The Honorable Senators Binay, Cayetano A, Cayetano P, De La Rosa, Ejercito, Estrada, Gatchalian, Go, Ontiveros, Lapid, Legarda, Marcos, Padilla, Pimentel, Poe, Revilla, Tolentino, Tulfo, Villanueva, Villar C, Villar M, Zubiri, the Senate President.
With 22 affirmative votes, 0 negative, 0 abstention, House Bill number 11351 is approved on third reading. Majority Floor Leader.
Mr. President, I move to approve on third reading House Bill number 11299. This is the bill recognizing the Singapore School of Cebu as an educational institution. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved. Secretary is directed to comply and to proceed to roll call vote.
An act recognizing Singapore School Cebu as an educational institution of international character and granting certain prerogatives conducive to its development and growth. Roll call vote. The Honorable Senator Binay, Cayetano A, Cayetano P, De La Rosa, Ejercito, Estrada, Gatchalian, Go, Ontiveros, Lapid, Legarda, Marcos, Padilla, Pimentel, Poe, Revilla, Tolentino, Tulfo, Villanueva, Villar C, Villar M, Zubiri, the Senate President.
With 22 affirmative votes, 0 negative, 0 abstention, House Bill number 11299 is approved on third reading.
President, I move to consider on third reading House Bill number 11300. This is the bill recognizing the Singapore School Clerk as an educational institution. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, Senate Secretary is directed to comply and to proceed to roll call vote.
An act recognizes Singapore School Clerk as an educational institution of international character and granting certain prerogatives conducive to its development and growth. Roll call vote, the Honorable Senators Binay, Cayetano A, Cayetano P, De La Rosa, Ejercito, Estrada, Gatchalian, Go, Ontiveros, Lapid, Legarda, Marcos, Padilla, Pimentel, Poe, Revilla, Tolentino, Tulfo, Villanueva, Villar C, Villar M, Zubiri, the Senate President.
With 22 affirmative votes, 0 negative, 0 abstention, House Bill number 11300 is approved on third reading. Majority Floor Leader.
Mr. President, I move to consider on third reading House Bill number 11301. This is the bill recognizing the Singapore School Manila as an educational institution. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved. Secretary is directed to comply and to proceed to roll call vote.
An act recognizes Singapore School Manila as an educational institution of international character and granting certain prerogatives conducive to its development and growth. Roll call vote, the Honorable Senators Binay, Cayetano A, Cayetano P, De La Rosa, Ejercito, Estrada, Gatchalian, Go, Ontiveros, Lapid, Legarda, Marcos, Padilla, Pimentel, Poe, Revilla, Tolentino, Tulfo, Villanueva, Villar C, Villar M, Zubiri, the Senate President.
With 22 affirmative votes, 0 negative, 0 abstention, House Bill number 11301 is approved on third reading. And finally, Majority Floor Leader.
Finally, Mr. President, I move to consider on third reading House Bill number 11302. This is the bill recognizing the Singapore School Manila Green Campus as an educational institution. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved. Senate Secretary is directed to comply and to proceed with roll call vote.
An act recognizes Singapore School Manila Green Campus as an educational institution of international character and granting certain prerogatives conducive to its development and growth. Roll call vote, Honorable Senators Binay, Cayetano A, Cayetano P, De La Rosa, Ejercito, Estrada, Gatchalian, Go, Ontiveros, Lapid, Legarda, Marcos, Padilla, Pimentel, Poe, Revilla, Tolentino, Tulfo, Villanueva, Villar C, Villar M, Zubiri, the Senate President.
With 22 affirmative votes, 0 negative, 0 abstention, House Bill number 11302 is approved on third reading.
Mr. President,
Majority Floor Leader.
the good minority, the distinguished minority leader is urgently seeking the floor. I move that he be recognized.
What is the pleasure of the Honorable Minority Floor Leader, the Honorable Aquilino Pimentel?
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise today on a question of privilege. That's why I'm asking for the understanding of our colleagues that their explanation.
I yield, Mr. President, to the minority leader.
Thank you. May be heard later, Mr. President. Under Section 107.
The gentleman may proceed.
Under Section 107 of the Rules of the Senate. Section 107. Questions of privilege are those affecting the rights, privileges, reputation, conduct, decorum, and dignity of the Senate or of its members, as well as the integrity of its proceedings. Because of the impeachment case against the Vice President, the Senate itself is now on trial. The reputation and dignity of this institution we hold so dear, painstakingly built up by the many senators who have served before us, together with our own efforts, are now being attacked online and in the real world out there. Outside our own gates this morning, there was a demonstration involving a substantial number of our constituents. The root cause of this is the apprehension of our people, based on recent pronouncements and developments, that there will be no impeachment trial against Vice President Sara Duterte. Respected academic institutions and other organizations have spoken with one voice. We call on the Senate of the Philippines to comply with its constitutional duty to forthwith proceed with the impeachment trial of Vice President Sara Z. Duterte. These are the UP College of Law Faculty, the Philippine Political Science Association, the San Beda University Graduate School of Law, the Ateneo School of Government, De La Salle University, University of Santo Tomas, and Adamson University, among others. I am submitting copies of their statements to the Secretariat to form part of the records of the Senate. The people have also taken to Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, and other social media platforms to voice their concerns and frustrations. Across these channels, the sentiment is clear and growing. nagkaroon ng agam-agam ang taong bayan. Bakit parang pinapatay na ang impeachment proceedings? This question reflects a deep unease among our citizens, a growing fear that the impeachment process is being deliberately stalled or even quietly ended. There is confusion as well as distrust at a time when our constitutional duty demands decisive and quick action and not unnecessary delays and endless debate on whether our duty is optional, captured by the phrase, if at all. What is that constitutional duty which I have just mentioned? It is a mandate or directive addressed to the Senate and is found in Article 11, Section 3, Paragraph 4 of the 1987 Constitution. And I will read it. In case the verified complaint or resolution of impeachment is filed by at least one-third of all the members of the House of Representatives, the same shall constitute the articles of impeachment, and trial by the Senate shall forthwith proceed. Since the time we received the articles of impeachment from the House of Representatives on February 5, 2025, I have been very vocal that trial by the Senate shall forthwith proceed. I wrote the Senate President a letter dated February 14, 2025, expressing the following ideas, and I quote from the said letter. According to the Merriam-Webster Online Dictionary, forthwith means without any delay or without interval of time. Its synonyms include immediately, instantaneously, instantly, presently, promptly, right away, right now, straight off, and straight away, among others. Considering that the 1987 Constitution was promulgated in both English and Filipino, we must examine its official Filipino translation. Kung ang pinanumpaang sakdal o resolusyon sa impeachment ay iniharap ng isang katlo man lamang ng lahat ng mga kagawad ng kapulungan, iyon ay dapat bumuo sa articles of impeachment at dapat isunod agad ang paglilitis ng Senado. The Filipino translation for forthwith is agad, which conveys immediacy. The synonyms of this Filipino word include madali, bigla, dagli, o kara-karaka, which denote urgency or promptness. The above elaboration affirms that it is the Senate's duty to act on the impeachment case of Vice President Sara Duterte without any delay or without interval of time. I repeat that this is the Senate's duty. I am submitting a copy of my letter dated February 14, 2025 to the Senate Secretariat to form part of the records of the Senate. In spite of all of my efforts, member of the minority na nga ako, I am also being hit by all these attacks against the Senate. How much more kayo pong nasa majority? We should all be concerned about what is happening. One writer wrote, all of the country's senators, yes, all of them, as embodiments of the Senate, are failing the Filipino people. Hence, I have every right to stand up to express my question of privilege as I worry about our beloved institution's reputation, integrity, dignity, and even our place in Philippine history. It is now June 9, 2025, or more than 4 months since the filing of the articles of impeachment, and the Senate has not yet started the trial. Tama lang po na mainip ang taong bayan kung kailan ba natin gagampanan ang constitutional duty natin. Indeed, there is a reason for the no trial fears of our countrymen. To remind us, the articles of impeachment transmitted by the House of Representatives on February 5, 2025 read as follows. Article 1. Respondent betrayed the public trust, committed culpable violations of the Constitution, and or committed high crimes in contracting an assassin and plotting to murder or assassinate the incumbent president, the First Lady, and Speaker of the House of Representatives, as publicly admitted by her in a live broadcast. Article 2. respondent betrayed the public trust and or committed graft and corruption in her misuse and malversation of confidential funds appropriated to the office of the Vice President, open and close parenthesis, OVP, and the Department of Education, open and close parenthesis, DepEd. Article 3, respondent betrayed the public trust and or committed bribery and or other acts of graft and corruption in violation of Republic Act number 3019. Article 4, respondent committed culpable violations of the Constitution and or betrayal of public trust in amassing unexplained wealth and failing to disclose all her properties and interest in properties in her statement of assets and net worth, open and close parenthesis, SAL-N, in violation of Section 17, Article 11 of the 1987 Philippine Constitution. Article 5, respondent committed other high crimes, including the high crime of murder and conspiracy to commit murder. Article 6, respondent by herself and or in concert with others committed acts of destabilization constituting at least a betrayal of public trust and or culpable violations of the Constitution and even the high crimes of sedition and insurrection. Article 7, the totality of respondents' conduct as Vice President, including her commission of the foregoing acts, clearly display conduct constituting a betrayal of public trust, culpable violations of the 1987 Constitution, and graft and corruption. These allegations are serious. They demand nothing less than a prompt and faithful discharge of our constitutional duties. Actually, all matters of impeachment are serious and important. Just look at the grounds provided by the Constitution. Culpable violation of the Constitution, treason, bribery, graft and corruption, other high crimes, and betrayal of public trust. The Senate President refused to convene the Senate as the impeachment court from February to May 2025 because he believes that the Senate could not act on the articles of impeachment while it was not in legislative session. We have an honest difference of opinion on this matter. For the record, I believe that the Senate has a separate existence as the impeachment court from the Senate, which is a part of the legislative department. The Senate, as the impeachment court, is governed by Article 11 of the 1987 Constitution. The Senate, as a part of the legislative department, is governed by Article 6. In short, legislative functions of the Senate are found in Article 6. The other functions of the Senate found outside of Article 6 of the Constitution are therefore what we can call the Senate's non-legislative functions. This conclusion is bolstered by the case of Pimentel Jr. versus Joint Committee of Congress, which involved the function of the Senate as part of the National Board of Canvassers for President and Vice President, a function which is found in Article 7 of the Constitution. The Supreme Court ruled in this case that the legislative functions of the 12th Congress may have come to a close upon the final adjournment of its regular sessions on June 11, 2004, but this does not affect its non-legislative functions. What is more important to me is the entry in the judgment which states as follows. In sum, despite the adjournment sine die of Congress, there is no legal impediment to the Joint Committee completing the tasks assigned to it and transmitting its report for the approval of the joint public session of both houses of Congress, which may reconvene without need of call by the President to a special session. I want to focus on the phrase, without need of call. There shall be no need of a call because the Constitution itself recognizes Congress's existence as the National Board of Canvassers for the presidential and vice presidential elections and mandates the holding of a joint public session. So in short, the source of the existence of the body and the authority and power to carry out its function and duty is the Constitution itself. It is therefore undeniable that the Senate has duties and functions that are not legislative in nature. As an additional argument, still on this honest difference of opinion, let us look at Article 6, Section 19 of the Constitution. Meron naman yung copy ng rules natin dyan ng Constitution. This section talks about two bodies of which Congress, including the Senate, is a member of: the electoral tribunals and the Commission on Appointments. There is a sentence here in that section that the Commission on Appointments shall meet only while the Congress is in session. Meaning to say that if the sentence were not in the Constitution, then the Commission on Appointments can meet even while the Congress is not in session. The electoral tribunals can therefore meet even when the Congress is not in session, because there is no such sentence applicable to the electoral tribunals. Unlike the provisions concerning the Commission on Appointments, there is no similar constitutional limitation found in Article 11 on when the Senate as the impeachment court can convene, meet, or hold sessions in order to perform its functions. Ulitin ko, wala pong sinasabi na ang Senado as the impeachment court shall meet only while the Congress is in session. Wala. Wala po yan. Clearly, therefore, the Senate as the impeachment court could have proceeded with the trial of the articles of impeachment even if the Senate as a legislative body was not in session. But that period of time from February to May 2025 is lost time already, like water which has passed under a bridge. To remedy the situation, let us focus on the here and now. Per the proposed calendar of the impeachment trial, attached as Annex A to the letter of the Senate President addressed to all senators dated February 24, 2025, we were supposed to have allowed the panel of prosecutors to present the articles of impeachment on June 2, 2025 at 3 p.m. and to have convened the Senate as the impeachment court on June 3 at 9 a.m. I am also submitting a copy of the letter of the Senate President dated February 24, 2025 with its Annex A to the Secretariat to form a part of the records of the Senate. It is stated in the said Annex A that the Senate hopes to adhere to the foregoing schedule, and considering that both the prosecution and defense will have ample time to prepare for the proceedings, will not tolerate any dilatory motion or pleading. Before June 2 arrived, on May 29, the Senate President vacated this proposed calendar of the impeachment court and transferred the presentation of the articles of impeachment by the panel of prosecutors to June 11, 2025, which is a critical date because that happens to be the last day of the legislative session of the Senate per our existing legislative calendar. Last Monday, June 2, 2025, when I asked the Senate President before the plenary on the American practice in impeachment proceedings regarding the appearance of the prosecutors from the House of Representatives, the Senate President answered me with, and I quote, "That in turn will now trigger, if at all, the convening of the impeachment court, where the regular processes would now be followed." Diyan po kami natakot, diyan sa qualifier na if at all. That inserted qualifier casts doubt on whether the Senate leadership will follow what is otherwise a clear constitutional command. It suggests that even after the articles of impeachment have been read and presented, the convening of the impeachment court might still be discretionary or optional. This use of the if at all phrase has not escaped the notice of our citizens. The situation is exacerbated by the pronouncement of the Senate President that, in the end, Senate plenary is supreme. Add to this the circulation of a resolution, although admittedly a draft, declaring the impeachment case de facto dismissed. Can we therefore blame law professors, lawyers groups, civil society groups, known legal personalities, and even ordinary citizens for raising the alarm of a no-trial scenario. So how do we and can we remedy the situation we are right now? The remedy is simple. As senators, we have taken an oath to support and defend the Constitution of the Philippines, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same. Let us follow what the Constitution says, most especially those provisions which are directed at the Senate. Sabi ng Konstitusyon, trial by the Senate shall forthwith proceed. There is no if, no unless, no when convenient. Indeed, the Senate has a constitutional duty to hold the trial of an impeachment complaint, especially when it has been filed by at least one-third of all the members of the House of Representatives, like in this case against the Vice President. Trial is the most fair course of action because the people need to know if their representatives acted properly and justly by hearing the evidence used by them in filing the impeachment case. And in the name of due process, we need to give the impeached officer the chance to defend himself or herself and clear his or her name. Klaruhin ko na ang pinag-uusapan natin dito ay kung ano ang constitutional duty ng Senado, hindi kung guilty or not guilty na ba ang impeached officer. Saka na ang hatol pagkatapos na ng trial. Ang importante ay mag-umpisa na ang trial proceedings kasi yan ang utos ng ating Constitution. Mr. President, my dear colleagues, any further delay not only undermines the explicit mandate of the Constitution and our rules, it risks eroding public trust in the Senate's capacity and capability to uphold the accountability of public officers and the rule of law. Not only do many believe that the Senate is heading to a no-trial scenario, worse, many have opined that simply by inaction or by merely refusing to convene as the impeachment court, the Senate seems to believe that it can effectively dismiss or defeat an impeachment complaint duly filed and transmitted by the House of Representatives. Under Rule 10 of the Senate's Rules of Procedure on Impeachment Trials, at the hour of the day appointed for the trial of an impeachment, the legislative business of the Senate, if there be any, shall be suspended so that the business of the trial can proceed. So in the light of all of this, and in accordance with our solemn duty under the Constitution, I most respectfully move, number one, that our legislative business be suspended. Number two, that we already convene as the impeachment court at this very moment. Number three, that the Senate President immediately take his oath as presiding officer of the impeachment court. Number four, that thereafter, the Senate President / presiding officer administer the oath or affirmation to all the members of the Senate now present. Number five, that the impeachment court then call the impeachment case against Vice President Sara Duterte and come up with a calendar for the trial thereof. Number six, that tomorrow, June 10, 2025, at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, the impeachment court call the impeachment case for the presentation and reading of the articles of impeachment by the panel of prosecutors of the House of Representatives. And number seven, that thereafter, the writ of summons be issued to the impeached officer. So I so move, Mr. President.
What is the pleasure of the Honorable Ontiveros?
Salamat Abi, Mr. President. I wish to second the motion of the Minority Leader through a manifestation.
All the motions of the Minority Floor Leader?
That is correct, Mr. President.
Duly noted.
May I deliver my manifestation seconding the motion of the Minority Leader, Mr.
The lady may
President?
proceed.
Salamat Abi, Mr. President. I second the motion of the good Minority Leader. Forthwith, and with no further delay, the Senate President must be placed under oath as presiding officer. He must then administer the oath to the members of the Senate as judges of the impeachment court. And most importantly, the articles of impeachment, which have long languished in limbo, must forthwith be presented to the body. First of all, the Constitution establishes with clarity the mandatory nature of impeachment, and this textual interpretation is supported by the framers. Article 11 on accountability of public officers, Section 3, subsection 4, states in no uncertain terms that once, quote, the verified complaint or resolution of impeachment is filed by at least 1/3 of all the members of the House, the same shall constitute the articles of impeachment, and trial by the Senate shall forthwith proceed, close quote. Hindi po mahirap intindihin ang utos sa sino mang tapat ang intensyong sundin ito. Ang paglilitis ay dapat agarang simulan nang walang pag-iwas o iba pang pagpapaliban. In fact, retired Justice Adolfo Azcuna, who wrote the procedural section that included the word forthwith, said that it meant, and I quote, immediately and without unreasonable delay, or in the national language official version, agad-agad, close quote. Sa kasong Chavez versus Judicial and Bar Council, GR number 202242, na dinisisyonan noong July 17, 2012, ipinaliwanag ng Korte Suprema na sa pag-interpreta ng saligang batas, dapat gamitin ang karaniwang kahulugan. Quote, it is a well-settled principle of constitutional construction that the language employed in the Constitution must be given their ordinary meaning. Close quote. Simple lang po ang dahilan. Quote, the Constitution is not merely or not primarily a lawyer's document, but essentially that of the people, in whose consciousness it should ever be present as an important condition for the rule of law to prevail. Wala pong pagdududa. The impeachment trial must begin immediately, agad-agad, walang pag-iimbot. Yan rin ang paninindigan ng mga mismong naging bahagi ng pagbuo ng ating konstitusyon, kasama sina Attorney Rene Sarmiento, Chairperson Christian Monsod, at ang nabanggit kong si retired Supreme Court Justice Azcuna. Kahit ang mga propesor at praktikante ng batas sang-ayon na dapat simulan ang paglilitis sa lalong madaling panahon. Kasama dito ay mula sa Philippine Bar Association, University of the Philippines College of Law, Ateneo Schools and Colleges of Law, De La Salle University Tanyada Jokno School of Law, San Beda University Graduate School of Law, Philippine Law School, University of Santo Tomas, Lyceum of the Philippines College of Law, Adamson University College of Law, Colegio de San Juan de Letran, at Union of People's Lawyers Mindanao. I will submit these statements to the Secretariat